I'm so official. I do what I want because I know that I can. I'm so official. I done paid my dues, so homie, I'm a made man. Yo, what up? What's happening? You already know what it is. It's your guy, Fatty. Outside looking inside, surviving prison. Hey, go on hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, that like or dislike. Got a feeling that it's gonna be a few people that dislike this one. But you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm gonna speak what I know, what I've been through, and or you know what I'm saying, the truth. Everything gonna be the truth. But had a feeling that this question was gonna come up, and it did. So the question is it drugs and alcohol inside of prisons? So the answer to that is yeah, it more so drugs and alcohol, but it's a lot of alcohol, hooch rather, and hooch is penitentiary liquor. It's made out of fruit, rotten fruit. Let it sit, let it rot. Put sugar on it. Let it sit for about 7 days, and you know what I'm saying. Depends on what you make it out of. Some people make it out of orange juice, grape juice, jelly, ketchup, Kool-Aid. Well, they use the Kool-Aid with the fruit to make it, but it definitely gets you geek. It definitely gets you geek. I can attest to that. But more so, but yeah, it's drugs in there. Marijuana, crack, heroin, fentanyl, yeah, all of it. Acid, every drug that's on the street is inside of the penitentiary. Another thing that's real big that's in there now is tobacco, because they didn't stop tobacco products from getting sold in the commissary, inside of the commissary. So that's a hot commodity now. Like, if you ever been in a store and you saw a big bag of just tobacco, just a big old bag, and it might cost you anywhere from $25 to $35. Well, inside the institutions, that same $25 to $35 bag go for, you can make like $10,000 to $12,000 inside of a prison. So yeah, and the reason why, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna talk about and say that it is drugs and stuff like that inside of institutions, because it's true, and it's not gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. It's like it's the streets. Same people that was on the street selling drugs or doing whatever they little criminal activity is the same people that's inside of the institutions, and they still busting their moves. And then you got to think too, the COs that's in there, they not making no big money. They ain't making no money. They getting like $16 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So you take a 25-year-old. Come here, dude. Keep jumping up, bite me. You take a 25-year-old kid, basically, because 25, you still a kid. Take a 25-year-old kid, and you weighing 130 pounds soaking wet, and you put him with another 25-year-old kid that's weighing 135 pounds soaking wet. That's 270 pounds together, and you put them in a pod and give them control of that pod. And inside of this pod, you got 250 people, and all these people are real live hardened criminals, and they in there for all types of stuff: drugs, rape, murder, safe cracking, like any type of crime that is committed, they in here. So you put these two with in charge of all these people, like they risking their life. Con artists, they in there with con artists. They in there risking their life every day for $16 an hour, and you know, so really it's just a mind game being in there, because at any given moment, like those 250 can buck up and, you know, really like take over for real. But I ain't trying to promote none of that, but I'm just speaking the facts for that. So anyway, with that being said, they make it like $16 an hour, and then they understanding about how much the drugs cost inside of there. Like something that costs $20 on the street inside of the penitentiary it costs $100. Costs $100. 7 grams of weed on the streets, like you paying $300 to $400 for it, and things of that nature. So, and then not to mention too, nowadays when you go to court and get sent, when a person go to court and is sentenced, they're getting hit with court fees. So what that look like is you go 19 years old and you get 18 years, 20 years to life, and you get sent to the institution, and you got these court fees now. And you can't get no money on your books, because if you get some money on, you can't get no money on your books until you pay your court fees, and the court fees be like $20,000, $15,000, $20,000, and you can't get no money on your books until them court fees paid off. So what that look like is, if somebody send you some money and you owe this 20,000 court fees, they taking that, they garnishing that off the rip. You ain't never even gonna see it. It don't matter if you ain't got no soap, no toothpaste, no toothbrush, no shampoo, no brush, no grease, no tater chips, no juice, no none of that. They don't care about none of that, and don't have child support to go with it, because child support, you gotta pay. You gotta pay that too. They gonna take it as soon as it come, before you even see it. Before you even see it, you never even gonna see it. You might get the notification that the money came, but it's never gonna hit your books. You're never gonna get an opportunity to spend it. So it's you know what I'm saying, it's a thing. I ain't promoting drug selling or none of that. I'm just letting you know what's going on. So yeah, it's drugs in there. It's a lot of drugs in there. A lot of people making money. A lot of people is doing better in the penitentiaries than they do on the streets. So it's a lot of people that really don't care about coming out. Like, people have told me, I talked to people when I was inside, and it's like, man, you don't want to go home, and they like, man, hell no, I don't want to go home, man. I don't want to go home. People dying and everything, because they got a little family in there. They got their little same sex marriage, and they making money selling drugs or doing whatever they doing. They got their little cell plushed out, wax all on the floor. You gotta take your shoes off to go in they cell, and towels hanging up everywhere, and it's just draped up and dripped out in there for them. So they cool with that. They living better than they ever lived in their life. So they satisfied, and they want to stay in there. So yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, too, like what I was saying about the court fees, this is, people that's on you coming from the street, so you used to having stuff. Then when you get in there and they taking all your money, they garnishing all your stuff, and you can't get nothing, and you looking around and everybody got something. Like me, for instance, I'm up under the old law. I was up under the old law, so I didn't have fees like that. I wasn't getting hit with fees like that. So I can get all my money. I can go to commissary, but then the new law inmates was getting hit with these fees. So they coming in, and then you put them next to me, and they seeing that I got everything. I got the TV, I got food, I'm eating every night, and they ain't eating. They used to having something, so they gonna steal. They gonna steal, or they gonna try to take it or whatever. And then another thing they do is they form these little gangs. They'll form a gang, and then they'll all get together and go around and rob people or extort people and stuff like that. So it's a lot of different little stuff that's going on inside of there. It's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother world in there. Like out here, you got the outside world, outside free world, and then you got the inside world. And the air is just definitely different compared to out here and in there. Like, I noticed it when I was in there. My face used to be breaking out. I get little bumps and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I used to think it was the food I was eating, or drinking too much Kool-Aid or something. So I cut certain stuff out, and it'll still happen. And I cut something else out, it'll still happen. But I come to realize, like, since I've been home, it ain't happened not one time. Not one single solitary time. It's like a black cloud used to be hovering around the institution. And that gate, that fence, just like it's blocking out all of the good air, man. Ain't no real air in there. So I'm gonna tell y'all this story real quick. Like, to let y'all know how kind of messed up it is. And for somebody that gotta go to the parole board, It's really like your hands and your feet. Your hands, your feet tied, you're bound and gagged is bad because they still got to go to the parole board no matter what. Me, for example, I get into it with a guy. And so like if you on parole and you go to the hole for a fight, that fight stay on your jacket up here on your record for 5 years. It won't leave. Like, so if you, every time you go to the parole board within that 5 year span, they gonna bring up that fight. No matter what. It don't matter. It don't matter if I'm just standing there and I ain't doing nothing and somebody come and just and still on me in front of the CO and we both go to the hole. I'm gonna get charged for that. Unless I write the statement and press the charges and do all of that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, back to the story. Up to the story real quick. So I know I gotta go to the parole board, whatnot, boom. So I get into it with a guy. He ain't take nothing from me or nothing. But he owed me. He owed me from a debt. So we end up getting into it. I funky handled the dude. You know what I'm saying? He ain't know my real name. But I get away. He get away. But he kind of lumped up and stuff. So they grab him like, hey, what's going on? You look like you was into something. So it ain't no, oh, I got hurt on the basketball court or none of that. None of that's going on no more. It used to happen like that in the beginning of my bit, but around this time, this was 2010. They wasn't doing none of that. They see you with a lump or something, mouth busted, and it's like, what happened? Oh, I was playing basketball. No, turn around, cuff up, and they're gonna take you to the hole and interrogate you or whatever. Some people just go to the hole and get let out in a couple days because if you just be quiet, they don't know what happened, so they gotta let you out. Some people tell. In this case, dudes tell on me. He don't know my name or nothing, but he know what cell block I'm in. So they take him up front and they got the picture book of everybody that's in that cell block. Give him the picture book. He thumbed through it, find me, point me out. They come get me. So I never forget it. So they come get me. They put me in a hole. And so I'm in a hole. This is July 10th, 2010. So July the 13th, which is my birthday, I'm still in the hole, and dude in the hole too. He go home. He had flat time. So flat time is like, you know what I'm saying? They just give you 18 months, an 18-month sentence. So at the end of your sentence, you getting out. You ain't got to go see the parole board. You ain't got to see nobody. You just do your 18 months and then you go home. You know what I'm saying? Barring that you catch an assault case or something in there, and then you gotta go to court and get hit with some more time or whatever. And but other than that, you flat time. You get your time, you do your time, and go. Me, I had to go to the parole board. So he goes home while I'm sitting in the hole, still waiting to go to RIB, the Rule Infraction Board. That's court. That's what court is called inside of the institution. And it's basically like court. You go to court, you plead guilty, not guilty. They read your charges that's against you. You get to present your case or whatever. They tell you to step out of the room after all that. Then while you out, they deliberate to find out what they're going to do to you, call you back in, tell you if they find you not guilty and you will be released, or they find you guilty and they give you what's called DC time, LC time, or AC time. DC, I really can't remember what DC was. District control. So that's just like you would get like 15 days and you would get out. Maybe time served or no time served, you'll do 15 days. LC is local control. That's what I used to be getting. So that's like from 45 days to 6 months in the hole. And AC, you get that for like fighting or, messing somebody up or stuff like that. And AC is like a year. You're going to do a year, you're going to get rolled out. So that's like if you stab somebody or do something like that, you'll get an AC. So this particular time, I got an LC. I ended up getting rolled out. They rolled me way out. Like, man, they rolled me like 3 hours away from home, down south for whooping on dude. And this dude went home. This dude went home 3 days after we was in the hole. Like the incident happened. They got him because he was lumped up and put him in a hole. And he told on me. They came and got me. He went home from the hole. Dude told on me and went home. And they get me. They banged me, rolled me out. And I still got to go to the parole board. So I had to go to the parole board like 2 years later after that. I went to the parole board. Man. And they gave me 3 years. They gave me 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. And I'm telling y'all that story to get to this other story. Like, it's different when you in there and you gotta go to parole compared to how they doing it now because it's crazy. So to hop back into this story to tell you about this story, it was an older cat. Can't remember his name, but he was an older cat, cool dude or whatever. And his people took care of him, looked out for him. So he had a lot of stuff. Always kept food in his locker box and everything. So little dudes, little group of guys, they were stealing from him or whatever. And it really was, he felt like it was nothing that he can do because he was on parole. And if he did do something, then no matter what, he beat him up, you'll feel good for beating him up or whatever. But if you get caught, and nowadays, these little dudes, they act like they tough and rah-rah and they do all this other stuff. But when you on top of their head, they gonna tell. You know what I'm saying? Then they got cameras all inside too. So that's another thing. That's a whole nother subject. But yeah, they was taking from him and stuff. So he be on the phone and he talking to his people or whatnot. He telling his family calling up to the institution, his family telling the institution, hey, they taking his stuff or whatever they telling them, but they calling up there. He's going to the COs and people and telling whoever he can tell that they taking his stuff and he trying to get moved out the block and whatnot. Nothing's happening. Nobody's doing nothing. So I guess he got fed up and tried to stand up for himself one day. They jump on him, kill this man. They jump on this man. He fall down, hit his head, and pass away. So now he gone, and these little dudes in turn flat time into a life sentence for murdering somebody, for some zoom zooms and wham whams. You know what I'm saying? But all that because, you know, just the whole situation. The whole situation is crazy. You locking these people up. Well, you know what I'm saying? They may or may not have done what they did to be locked up for all that time. But you locking these people up and then making it to where they can't get no help from the outside. They can't get no help from the outside. They can't get no food. They can't get no money. They can't get nothing. You can send them food boxes. You can get a food box and stuff, but that's about it. But you can't get no money. You can't get no assistance. And then they expect for you to just be in there and not have nothing. And everybody around you or people that has been there for years and years and years, that's under the grandfather law, they got everything. They got a TV. They got stacks of soap and toothpaste and you know what I'm saying and all this and that. And they expect for a person that's used to having stuff to not have it, especially when they got all this time to do. Like so it's causing a lot of friction. It's causing a lot of friction and it's bad, man. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I'm just thinking about it and I'm kind of getting like tongue tied a little bit because really it's just crazy. It don't make no sense for them to do that. And so yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. So with that being said, like look out for your people. Look out for your people while they in there. If you know that they got court fines or whatever, if you ain't gonna pay the fine off, you know what I'm saying? Shoot them a food box or something. Talk to somebody. It's ways around that. It's ways around that. Like you could talk to your people, and if they connect with a person that don't have fines, you can send the money to their books. You can hook it up to where you can send the money to their books, and they can go shop for people. Like I know people that was doing that. Like if they send for me, for example, if they send $100 to my books for they people that got fines and can't go to the store, to the commissary, then you give me $20 and I'll go spend the 80 for you and I'll carry the food back for you. You got $80 in food. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's ways around it, or send them a food box and stuff like that. But it's very important that we stay in touch with our loved ones that's incarcerated, man, and know what's going on and help them out. Because the situation can be crazy. It may not be them. You know, your people a dog. Ain't nothing gonna happen to them, but somebody else might be weak body, frail, and then they do something to them, and then they pass away. You know what I'm saying? And then they turn 12 months into 20 years. See what I'm saying? Or vice versa. You feel me? So communicate with your people that's incarcerated. Let them know that you there for them. And try to help them. And like I said, it ain't even always financial. It could just be a conversation, a letter, answer a phone call. You know what I'm saying? Shoot a picture. If you able, go visit them. And if you really able, do all of the above. They got the jpay.com. You can hop on there and send them video visits. You can do a video visit. You can send videograms. You can send pictures. You can, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff. Just stay connected and keep them focused on just doing their time and coming home. You feel me? So with that being said, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. But hit that dislike button. Definitely subscribe. You already know. You see what it is. It's your guy, Fatty, outside looking inside. Hey, man, y'all stay safe. Hey, say what's up to Bossy. Bossy, say what's up. Say what's up, Bossy. Don't be trying to sneak no licks in, boy. I'm out. Y'all be safe. I'm so official.